Thank you and good morning. I have been changing my intervention 4 times already, and now listening to Elizabeth I was thinking I should change it again. I will not do it. I will try to present you what I have noted down after the discussions of yesterday. But let me tell you one remark in answering your questions. For me, commons at this moment is mainly a political tool. It is a concept that we can usefully use in order to shape, reshape our economies and our societies. It is a new concept, it is a very attractive concept. We can reach a lot of people with it, especially young people. And what we need to do in the very first instance, I think, is be aware of the power relations we are in, power relations that we have to change, and for which our old concepts are not that useful anymore. So I think the commons at this moment are a political tool, a political concept that we should really use to the full. It has an enormous political potential. So this is my first comment. My second comment, or my first point in fact, is that when I discuss, I come from Belgium, I live in Brussels. When I discuss about commons in Belgium, it is mainly with people who think that labor or productive labor is slowly disappearing. It is with the people who think that robots are going to take over our jobs. Now, I do not believe this. I mean, this is not a matter for Belgium, of course. You all know the authors who are writing about it, just like Paul Mason and others, even up to a certain point, Michel Bouwens. Labor, of course, is not going to disappear. What might disappear is wage labor. And not only because of the robots, but because of all the neoliberal projects that are at this moment being implemented. And therefore, what is going on in France right now, with the change of the labor law, is so very important. Because we have to define all these economic and social rights. And that is precisely what neoliberalism wants to do away with. And that is why, from my point of view, we still have to defend a couple of basic principles belonging to the old welfare states. I know that in Italy you never had the welfare states that we had in the north of Europe and in Western Europe, but I think we have a couple of basic principles that we need still to defend. Because the people who are saying that wage labor is going to disappear, that concludes, and thus, consequently, we need basic income. We're not going to discuss this now, but I think this is an important point for debate that we should be aware of. In this disappearing, between inverted commas, of wage labor, I think what we should think about is instead the disappearance of the distinction between productive and reproductive work. We all know that in all our economies, care is becoming more important. And we speak till now about reproductive labor because that was the work that women were doing unpaid. Now, this is also disappearing, and this is a very good thing. But the two cannot exist without the other. You cannot have productive labor if you do not have reproductive labor. And you cannot have reproductive labor if there is no production. So the two, it's not that in the Keynesian sense they reinforce each other, it is that they are interdependent. And I think we can gain a lot by doing away with the distinction between productive and reproductive labor. And in my view, all labor has to be paid. You cannot say it's a free-for-all, we work for nothing. I think people who do work have to be paid for the work they are doing. And if you reflect on this, if you reflect on this care work that is becoming more important, if you reflect on the disappearance of the distinction between productive and reproductive, and you think of the economies we need, and this is all we have been discussing about yesterday, then you see that what the economy should do is indeed taking care of our needs, all our needs. And so you can say the whole economy is about caring for our needs. And usually, my research is mainly about social rights and social policies. And mainly I start from social policies to come to the conclusion that in order to have social rights, you need to change your economy. But of course, the other way around is as relevant as such. If you change the economy, you have to change the social system you're working with. So again, the two are interdependent. And you cannot discuss about one without discussing about the other. But we will have to redefine work, and we will have to reorganize work. That is very, very obvious for me. My second point is about all the points, very interesting points we have been discussing of yesterday. We call these small revolutions, the small local initiatives people are taking everywhere in the world. And what we should not forget is that these small revolutions, they are relevant as such for the people who are involved in them. Because it changes people, it changes the local system, it changes the economy, it changes the social system. But in order to become really relevant for the whole system, I think the question we should, for every small initiative, we should put is, I call it, what about Monsanto? I mean, with our small initiatives, can we change something about the global system? Because what we do not want, I think, is the organization of a dual economy. We do not want a small-scale sector existing in parallel with a capitalist system that goes on unchanged. We do not want two parallel economies. We want to change the whole system. So in order to do this, for every small-scale initiative, we should ask, can we, with this initiative, and how can we also influence the global system? And for that, we need initiatives to link up the small-scale initiatives and to articulate them at different levels, from the local to the national to the continental to the global. But that is not a task that we are faced with. A very brief word about the state, because we had this discussion just a minute ago. I think we need the state. We need the state for different reasons, not only for the redistribution, but also for just fixing a couple of rules. Because we all seem to think that our communities are necessarily positive. We also can have very negative communities. We can have gated communities installing their commons. So we should take care of that. We should need rules to avoid discrimination. We can have initiatives that install kindergartens and then say, this is only for white children. And that is not what we want, of course. We can have small communities that say, we install a small weapons factory. I mean, we need rules to guarantee our rights. We need rules to fix a couple of objectives that are possible and are not possible. My last word about, you have talked a lot more. About public services. Public services, I mean, we should take care with it. We should take much care about definitions. Public services are not necessarily commons, are not common services, are not common goods. I mean, these are all different things, and I think one of the urgent tasks we should do is look at our definitions so that we know what we are talking about. Public services is very problematic in the sense that, I would say because of the French, but I will not say it. It is state organized, but at the same time, the public is also the public these services are for. I mean, it's this dual meaning of public. Of course, public services can be commons. They can be commons if the public is involved in the decision making, is involved in the organization, is involved in the definition. And of course we need the state, again, in order to guarantee our universal rights and in order to avoid discriminations and also for redistribution. Of course. So I think public services can be just as, or other economic and social rights can be commons. We have to discuss it. Commons is about the self-organization of people. It allows for taking into account individual rights as well as collective rights. I will not go into all the other points I have here. Just a last sentence. We need to work about our definitions. We need to constantly ask ourselves in what way we can work in a transformative way, not only at the local level, also at multi-scale levels, national, continental, European, and global. And never forget, please, the power relations we are in, and that we absolutely have to change, and for that we need to do a lot of work to convince more people of the relevance of our ideas and concepts. Thank you.
Thank you, Francine. So that's